In this video tutorial, we will explain key concepts of charges in Sippy Softswitch and how different charges are structured, with the goal of attaining a fundamental understanding of their relation to the call flow and how they apply to various call scenarios and related system configurations. These charges represent both the revenues generated from processing client call traffic and the costs paid by Sippy to DID providers and vendors. We will explain all charges built into Sippy. While not all are directly related to DID, all existing charges can come into play in certain combined DID scenarios. After completing this lesson, you will be prepared to work with Sippy charging in both DID and non-DID call scenarios. As shown in the diagram, charges can be grouped into two perspectives: revenues and costs. Let's begin with the structures of four types of revenue charges. The first revenue charge is what Sippy bills its clients for processing incoming DID calls from DID providers or on-net DID calls originated from registered entities such as user agents. These DID charges are defined in the selling charging group, which contains fixed charges that are unrelated to the calls, for instance, a one-time setup fee or some periodic service fee, and the charges for incoming DID call traffic, which are defined by a set of parameters of the incoming tariff and its rates. Parameters set at the incoming tariff level are commonly applied to all rates in the incoming tariff, while each rate in the incoming tariff has its own individual charging parameters. The incoming tariff itself is a list of rates, each corresponding to a specific prefix that matches the CLI of the incoming DID call. Sippy calculates the DID call charge to the client by applying the relevant call charging parameters of the selling charging group together with the call duration taken from the CDR as inputs to the amount charge formula to calculate the client's charge for that call. The service plan works in a similar way for charging clients for outgoing calls sent to vendors and for on-net calls. There are several fixed charges unrelated to the call, which are specified at the service plan level. A service plan contains a tariff, which defines common parameters for all destination prefixes, while the tariff itself includes a list of rates, each with its own pricing parameters for the corresponding prefix. It is important to understand the following distinction between the incoming tariff and the tariff. The tariff in a service plan is used to charge clients for routing their outgoing calls to vendors based on the CLD, meaning clients are charged according to the destination of their outgoing calls. In contrast, the charge to the owner of a DID number for an incoming call is determined by the incoming tariff rate in the selling charging group, using the caller's CLI rather than the call's destination number. The logic behind this is that callers to the same DID number may be located in different regions or use different carriers, which are identified by their CLI, and each CLI may require different pricing depending on the origin of the call. For on-net calls, a service plan uses on-net in and on-net out rates of its tariff, which are special types of rates within the tariff applied to calls between accounts A and B, which in practice means the calls between the entities registered to these accounts, such as two user agents. Unlike the normal rates in the tariff, which are defined individually for each prefix, only one on-net in rate and one on-net out rate can be defined and applied to all prefixes. Please note that in and out here are relative to the account, not the system. The on-net out rate means the rate charged to account A for sending the call, while the on-net in rate is the rate charged to account B to receive this call, which is incoming from the perspective of account B. Once again, although both incoming tariff and tariff structures are similar and configured in the same section of the Softswitch, it is important not to confuse them. The incoming tariff is used within a selling charging group, but the tariff is part of a service plan. Now let's look at costs. Sippy essentially recognizes two types of costs: charges paid to DID providers for incoming calls, and charges paid to vendors for outgoing calls. Costs paid to DID providers are defined in the buying charging group, which applies a single set of parameters to all DID numbers from a given DID provider, meaning there is one set of parameters equally applied to all DID numbers of the same vendor associated with a DID pool record. In contrast, the costs Sippy pays to vendors are defined individually for each prefix as roots of a destination set created for this vendor. After each call is completed, Sippy combines the relevant revenue charges and updates the account balance by subtracting them from the current balance. Call revenues and costs are also used to generate various financial reports available on the Sippy web interface, such as the Customer Profit and Loss Report, and are recorded in the CDRs, which can be downloaded to create customized reports. In the next video, we will analyze several real-world scenarios in detail to show how charges are applied and affected by different routing scenarios.